Okay, let's begin our Tree of Life inspired by Gustav Klimt. First, I want you to write your name on the back of your paper and then flip your paper over. Now, I'm holding my paper horizontally because the Tree of Life has lots of swirls that go across the paper. If you want your Tree of Life to be longer, hold your paper horizontally. If you want your Tree of Life to be taller, hold your paper vertically. Either one will be just fine. Now notice I am not starting out with a pencil today. I am starting right in with my black marker. The reason is because, believe it or not, even though if we trace with this black marker, our pencil line will still show through. And I don't really want pencil line to show through on my work. So I'm going right in with a black marker because I'm up for that challenge. Now I'm going to go nice and slow here so that if you want to, you can follow right along with me. I'm going to start with, in the middle of my paper, with a line. The line does not go all the way to the top. I'm leaving some space at the top. Now on the other side, I'm going to draw another line that's going to be diagonal and it's going to meet at the top of this line. So it's going to start far away down here, like that. That's going to be the tree trunk for the Tree of Life. So now what I'm going to do is color in this space. I'm using lawnmower lines. Remember, lawnmower lines are lines that go in one direction. Okay, so now what I'm going to start doing is drawing the swirling branches that we see in Gustav Klimt's Tree of Life. If you remember, those swirling branches were symbolic of the Tree of Life between heaven and the underworld. So I'm going to start drawing those swirls that are symbolic of life. First, I'm going to start at the top and just draw one big swirl. Then I'm going to do another one on the other side. Now I'm going to move down a little bit and draw another one for another branch, one on the other side, and then maybe one more down here. I'm not going all the way to the bottom because I need to save some room for the ground. Two small ones. Next, I'm going to draw a line at the bottom for the ground. Okay, so from here, what we're going to do is we're going to add more swirls coming off of these swirling branches. And this is where you can get really, really into it. Add as many swirls as you possibly can to make your Tree of Life really full of lots of beautiful swirls and spirals. Add some small ones going off the big branches. As many swirls as you can. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is move on to adding some of the patterns and symbols in my Tree of Life. Okay, as you can see, I went back into some of these swirls and I thickened up some of those branches a little bit. It started to look a little bit funny to me, so I just added a little bit of thickness to the bottom part of the branch where it connects to the tree. Now what I'm going to do is talk about the patterns and the symbols that we can add to our Tree of Life. So I have a paper here with lots of different examples of patterns that you could use, or you could think up patterns on your own. There are two sides. You don't have to use these if you don't want to, but they're here for you to help you get some ideas of different patterns that you could use. Okay, now let's talk about symbols. A symbol is a mark, a sign, a shape, a word that is understood as representing an idea, object, or relationship. A great example of a symbol is a heart. Most people here where we live recognize the heart as a symbol of love and friendship. Another great example of a symbol is a teardrop. This symbol could mean different things to different people. To some people, teardrops could be a symbol of sadness. To others, it could be a symbol of water. A flower could be a symbol of youth and beauty to some people, and to other people, it could be a symbol of growth. There are many different symbols, and they can mean many different things to people all over the world. Another example is from ancient Egypt. The eye was the symbol of protection, royal power, and good health. So with this in mind, think about the meanings of the symbols that you would like to add to your tree of life. Now, because the tree of life is colored in black, the only pencil that's going to show up on this part is a white. All the other colored pencils are going to be too dark for the black. But we have all this white space that we could use, and in those areas, you can use whatever colors you want. So I'm going to start by adding some patterns in the actual tree. Okay, now that I've added some patterns up here in the tree, I'm going to start adding patterns and symbols around the tree of life. I'm thinking about down here, remember this was symbolic, a symbol of the underworld or of death, and up here were symbols of life and the heavens in ancient mythology. So I'm thinking about patterns and symbols that I could use to represent heaven and life and death and the underworld. Okay, now that I've got a lot of symbols up here, I'm going to go back to doing some more patterns around the trees and around the symbols, or around the branches and around the symbols. All right, I'm almost done, but I'm looking at my work and I'm feeling like, I feel like I need something right over here on top of the ground. So I'm just going to add a symbol. I'm gonna do some diagonal lines. Some kind of pattern. Because I feel like that line is just a little too boring on its own. There we go. Maybe I could do some more crisscross. That looks much better. All right, I'm all done.